Hello again, everyone. Jacob here, doing another one of my little discussion videos. A few weeks ago, I did one for No More Heroes 3, because I had recently beaten it. And just yesterday, I beat Dragon Quest XI's Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition. You know, every now and again, I make these bits for myself. I make these little jokes that no one really finds as funny. I don't find it very funny. It's not even a joke, but I commit myself to it too much. I had this time where I felt the need to, every time I brought up this game, I had to refer to it by its full name, Dragon Quest XI's Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition, because I'm just so amused at how long it is. If you look at like the spine of the Switch version, there's no room for anything else. It goes from the top to the bottom, and that amuses me. But I got over it because I kind of got tired of saying it every time. So Dragon Quest XI is fine. So of course it's an RPG in the classic Dragon Quest series. It's been going on for fucking years. The first Dragon Quest, like it came out, what I want to say 1986. And it outdates Final Fantasy. They're both Square Enix games, and they've been going on for fucking ever. And apparently Dragon Quest is, like, a massive deal in Japan. Like, I remember hearing that, like, the games would come out on weekends so that they wouldn't have to worry about people calling out of work to play the next Dragon Quest game. Part of that feels very unbelievable to me, but the idea of any video game being that big anywhere, especially one like this old, it's not like a modern blockbuster or anything, it's a classic, you know, RPG series from the 80s. The idea of any game being that big anywhere is very surprising to me. But hey, it's big. It's not as big here in North America. Excuse me, I'm gonna blow my nose. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I felt really stuffy. Anyway, it's been going for a long time, and a lot of people seem to regard Dragon Quest XI very highly. I heard it was very good. I remember it plagued Nintendo Directs for like a full year when it was coming out on Switch, which was weird because the Switch version was an enhanced port of a game that had already been out for a little while. So I was always like wondering why it got so much time in every Nintendo Direct. Plus, this was before I got into RPGs, so I was just like, okay, this is an enhanced version of a game that's already been out for years. What, can we see something new now, please? And stop seeing it in every Direct. But thankfully, that didn't entirely sour my look on the game, because I just want to come out and say it. This game is excellent. I had a lovely time playing through this game, and that is saying something considering how damn long it is. I remember when I filmed my No More Heroes 3 video, I thought I was close to the end of the game, but I was not, apparently. By the way, this video is going to be kind of spoilery. I'm not going to be talking about any big plot twists or anything. But I am going to be talking about some things that happen in the story, as well as just some story beats here and there. So if you don't want to be spoiled, then just, you may want to, like, at all, you may want to go ahead and step away, go to the corner over there while we finish talking here. But anyway, when I thought I was almost done, I was actually just almost done getting to the credits. This is one of those games where you reach an ending, the credits roll, but you're really not done. It's not even the fact that, oh, I have a bunch of extra quests or side quests to do. No, the story, the main plot is not complete. The first ending of the game feels very hollow if you just stop there, because there's like there's just some questions that need to be answered. The ending is very abrupt. It doesn't leave a ton of closure. And it's like, okay, what's next? What's next is like 20 more hours of gameplay. This is the longest campaign of any game I personally have ever beaten. It took me about 85 hours to beat this game from the beginning to the final ending. Just the idea that this game kept my attention for so long should be a monument to how good this game is. because I just don't play games that long. I especially like with how I play games, like I play 2 games at a time, so it's not like I can like pop this on like between playing a number of other games, because I'm only playing one other game at a time. And really, like while I was playing Dragon Quest, if I wasn't playing No More Heroes 3 or some other small game that really didn't take long to beat or play, I was just playing this game. I wanted to get through it. Plus, there is a lot of story that happens throughout the game. There's a fair amount of cutscenes, and you're rarely going to run into a long stretch of time where you're just playing and grinding and stuff, and you don't need to worry about, like, hearing things. So it's not like I could just play the game, like, mindlessly on mute for a while I'm doing something else. I can at certain stretches, but, like, a new cutscene was always around the corner, so I couldn't really do that. Also, sorry, I'm very stuffy today, so sorry if I sound a little nasally or stuffed up. I put this later in my notes, but while we're talking about the story, I may as well talk about it. So it's a basic Chosen One story at its heart. You are a man whose genes have fucking... They have been passed down from legendary heroes hundreds of years in the past, and your birth signifies the coming of a great darkness that you must defeat. You know, that whole story is fine. That's not where the majority of the enjoyment of the story comes from. It comes from all of the little side stories, not even side stories, all of the mini stories that are told on your journey, as well as the characters. The game's pacing is phenomenal. This is the sole reason why I was able to play this game for 85 hours and not feel like, okay, when is this gonna end? I never felt that in this game. I have felt that at some point in basically every other RPG I've played, because I'm still kind of getting used to the genre, and a lot of its trappings and stuff, a lot of its tropes, and a lot of just general features of the genre are still things I'm not 100% behind. So I tend to end RPGs like, okay, about time we wrap this up, folks, huh? But I never felt that way because the story was so perfectly paced. The reason why is because you're always doing something new. You're always hopping from quest to quest, and none of them outstay their welcome. Like, at one point, you're helping this prince who is kind of a jackass, but he's very sweet, who lied to his dad then told him that he knew how to ride a horse and had to enter this ceremonial horse race that all royalty needs to do some point. So you need to help him win this race so that he doesn't let down his dad. And then there's this one other, oh my god, Vince. Oh, Vince is a joy. There's this one other place where you go to this place and enter a fighting tournament in order to win something you need in order to defeat the darkness. And you meet this lovely man named Vince. He is my favorite side character in the game. He is a sweetheart. His voice is so nice. He's got this, like, most of the voice cast is some kind of European, but Vince has this, like, kind of Bostonian drawl about him. He's very quiet and reserved and so sweet. I love him to bits. A lot happens in that story that I won't spoil, but just look forward to meeting Vince. He is a treat. So this happens throughout the whole game. You're running into new stories and going through them, and they never outstay their welcome. They always begin and end right when you expect them to, right when you're about ready to move on to the next town, and it's perfect. This is one of the best paced this might actually be the best paced RPG I've ever played. I never got tired while playing this game. I never felt that long-ass RPG fatigue that I tend to feel. That is impressive that they found a way to do that. It's so fucking good. And all of the characters, whether it be the ones that you meet along the way or your party members, they're all so damn likable. The characters in this game are awesome. I'm going to go ahead and go through your party members. There's really no spoilers here because they're all on the cover of the game, except for one that I won't spoil, I guess. But I'm going to go through them all. So, your main character, the Luminary, or if you play Smash, the hero, is probably the worst part of the game. He is an avatar. He's silent. The only dialogue options you get are yes and no, in particular parts. I never said no. There's never a reason to say no, but I gotta say, I was pretty curious as to what happens if you said no to a big particular story beat that you need to do in order to beat the game. But I never did it. I was too much a little puss. He's about as wooden gets. Like, if you think a Fire Emblem protagonist like Robin or Corrin, or not Corrin, Corrin's not wooden, maybe he should be, or Byleth are wooden and bland, you have not seen the Luminary. He does not emote. He always has this, like, eyebrows pointed down, wide blank eyes, straight face going on. Every now and again he'll smile or gasp, but that's it. I know why these decisions are made. So you don't have to write another character, and so that this character is more of an avatar so that you can project your own personality onto them. But if you're gonna do that, let me design the character more. There is very limited cosmetic customization. Like, every character gets their own costumes, but you can't design your character. You can't change their gender. You can't change their hair. You can only use like the pre-made costumes that are in the game, and only after you get particular items. Like, if you're gonna make a character, like, this is my philosophy. If you're gonna make a character that I want to project myself onto, let me design them. Give me a character creator. Let me be a woman if I am either a woman or someone who prefers to play as women because you relate to them more, like me. But no, he's just a wooden guy that you can't project yourself onto because this isn't you. This is the Luminary. I may have named him Jacobius because I couldn't think of any other name, but he's not Jacobius. He's the main character of Dragon Quest XI, and he doesn't do anything. Easily the worst part of the game was how bland and lame he was. Thankfully, the rest of the cast pulls their weight wonderfully. The first party member you meet is Eric. The fucking love of my life, Eric. I don't know what it is about Eric, but I love him. He's a thief. He's a bit of a jackass, but he never strays too far into the unlikable territory. Like, he's a little sarcastic, but he's also really nice. And he's got this voice. His voice is adorable. I'm really bad at determining accents. I think he's got an Irish accent. But I love listening to Eric talk. He's so, like, quiet, but so... He's quiet, but he's so full of personality at the same time. And just his accent, the way he speaks, his little bits of sarcasm, as well as his face, dude. He is adorable. He is my boy. And he's reminding me how pansexual I am. He's very handsome. He's very handsome, very nice, very cute boy. And I love him to death. I've not simped this hard for a male character in a long time, if ever. Oh, he's precious. He is my heart and soul, man. I love Eric. I love him to pieces. And some shit happens to him throughout the story that makes you so sad. Like, I feel like he gets the most development of any of your party members throughout the game. And he is wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. You really connect to him, not only because you're with him the longest, but because of how you learn about his upbringing, as well as just some general story beats that happen to him that make you feel for him. I love Eric. And I'm sorry if I get these out of order. I'm pretty sure I'm saying these in the right order. The next two party members you meet are Veronica and her twin sister, Serena. Yeah, they're twins. They look very different. Veronica's looks like a child, and Serena does not. There's a reason for that. You'll find out. They're fine. They're both very cute, of course. They're very sweet girls. Actually, Veronica's not very sweet at all. She's kind of mean. Like, she's got this edge to her. And she's got this very heavy British accent. Again, almost everyone in the game has a European accent of some kind. But the fact that, like, Veronica, like, very blatantly and very deliberately goes, stupid, on several occasions. I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm a stupid American, but that makes me laugh. She's really mean, though, and that kind of knocks her down a peg in terms of how much I really like her. Her design is adorable. She's got these chubby cheeks and this little, like, elf hat, and these twin tail braids. She's very cute, and I like her fine. Her and her sister are the protectors of the Luminary, so it's their destiny to help you out on your journey. Serena is a bit more, how do I put this? She's a bit more, like, on the normal side. She's very nice. She's just kind of your average nice girl. And it takes a while for you to really start to warm up to her, and it takes a while for her to properly develop. So for most of the game, she was like, okay, she's nice. She's fine. I like her. She's cute. She's pretty. But I never really made that connection to her like I made a connection to the other characters in the game. Example being Silvando. Silvando was the only character that was hyped up by folks in the Straw Hat No Discord to me before the game started. And he did not disappoint. Silvando fucking rules. He is a circus performer. He is very flamboyant. He speaks with this effeminate flair, a Spanish accent, I believe. He calls everyone honey and darling. And recently in Persona 5 Royal, of course, we're streaming that. Watch it if you want. It's a great game. There was this really homophobic joke that was made at some clearly effeminate character's expense. And the first thing I thought was Silvando. It was like, Dragon Quest XI did effeminate male characters, so much better than this. It does not feel insulting at any point that Silvando is the way he is. He is so genuine. He's a circus performer. He's practically a jester, so he's funny. But the fact that he's flamboyant is never played for laughs. In fact, there's a storyline that happens later where you need to talk to Silvando's dad, who's not happy with the life that he's leading as a circus performer and wants him to be a knight instead. So it leans more to sympathetic, and it's his entire, like, the fact that he's so flamboyant's never a joke. He's just wonderful. He's such a ray of sunshine, a genuine beam of positivity in this world that could be consumed by darkness at any moment. And that's why he's here. He wants to put smiles on people's faces. And he does. He makes you smile. Like, I say like a lot. Like, these characters that are so outwardly positive, they rarely do anything for me. But Silvando is handled so well. Like, you believe every word out of his mouth that he wants to make the world a happier place, and everywhere he goes, he wants to spread smiles. You rarely see a smile off of Silvando's face. He is just always happy. He's always looking to help people. His voice actor is fantastic. He might be the best voice performance in the game. That's pretty stiff competition with the main cast, so I don't know about that, but you really become lost in this character. You don't think of the voice actor. You don't think of the video game. You almost feel like Silvando's right there next to you, cheering you on throughout the whole game. He is such a ray of sunshine. I adore this man, and I'm so glad he was hyped up to me beforehand. The next two characters you meet are at the aforementioned fighting tournament, Rab and Jade. Rab is the old man, Jade is the pretty girl. I'm going to talk about Jade first. Jade I liked a lot at first, but then she never really develops a lot beyond the first few hours that you meet her. You learn a lot about her when you first meet her, but then you kind of just don't. She probably talks the least out of all the characters, even if it's just like simple like, oh, I understand what you're saying, we need to go do this, that characters sometimes say when they're talking to other NPCs. Jade doesn't say that very much. She's very quiet. And then there's the whole sexy thing. You know, you can look at her, she's attractive, and this is an old JRPG series. Can you imagine that her looks play a pretty strong part in certain parts of the story and the gameplay? And even in the combat, a lot of her attacks and abilities are based around her sex appeal. She literally has a move called Sexy Beam, which is actually kind of funny. It's a really strong attack too. I use that a lot. And at times it turns into a game you don't want your parents to walk in on you playing. It's not that bad. The game's rated T for teen. It's probably more family friendly than a lot of JRPGs, but still, it's a little weird. I don't have a problem with this on its own at all. You know, characters who use their sex appeal to get an advantage in combat, that can be a lot of fun. Those characters can be cool. Problem is, Jade is not one of those characters. And I'm not saying she's not cool, because she is for the most part. It's just that at no point in any cutscene or story moment does Jade reference the fact that she is attractive and that she likes to use that to her advantage. If they even did that once, I wouldn't even consider this a problem. Like, if they just took a second and be like, show Jade fighting, because you meet her at a martial arts tournament, they had the opportunity to do that, to show an enemy fighting and be like, whoa, that babe is so hot, and then Jade takes advantage of the distraction. That would have explained everything. That would have explained all of her sexy moves that you can use with her. But they didn't. What's really weird is in that same fighting tournament, there are a couple of female characters you fight. They're mostly side characters, not that important to the story, that do that. They use their sex appeal to their advantage, and they reference it. So I'm wondering why they didn't do that for Jade, and instead just have this character who's mostly all business. By the way, I don't think I mentioned her personality. She's very straightforward, very all business. Like, so it makes even less sense for her to do that. It doesn't seem like something she would do. But if they even just showed one example of it, it would solve all this problem. It would have taken like 30 seconds, if that, and then bam, make her moves as sexy as you want, and there won't be a problem. So that was a little disappointing, but again, Jade's cool enough. She, unfortunately, like, just kind of falls off in terms of characters that I was really invested in by the end of the game. But she's fine. She's very strong, so you'll be using her a lot. But, she's okay. Rab, on the other hand, is awesome. Very nice Scottish old man. He is just a sweet old man with a very, very strong, very, very, like, soothing Scottish voice. He probably talks the most out of any of your party, because he's very important to the plot. I won't say why, but he is very essential to everything that's going on, and that gives him a ton of development. It seems that the characters that they bother to develop the most, they do it well enough that it's always that you always endear yourself to them more than the characters who aren't as developed, like Jade or even Serena and Veronica. Like, they get what you need to figure out their motivation and why they're here, but they don't spend a ton of time developing them further. And that's where characters like Eric, like Silvando, like Rab, where they shine so bright. All three of those characters they carry this game wonderfully. I don't have a lot to say about Rab because he's just a nice old man. Like, there's not much beyond that without spoiling like who he is or why he's so important. He's just a nice old man. Do you like nice old men? Do you like nice grandpa characters? You're gonna like Rab. There you go. And that's the main cast, except for, again, you get an extra party member later. I don't want to spoil who it is. You'll probably figure it out a good few dozen hours into the game who it's gonna be. But yeah, you'll get him. So that's the story and characters. That's the best part of this game. They really keep you going. There's a few other things I wanted to talk about. The first is the art style. Dragon Quest's character designs have always been done by Dragon Ball creator Akira Toriyama, and it shows a lot. You definitely see the Dragon Ball in Dragon Quest's art style. That's nothing new. If you look at a Dragon Quest box art, you'll see that, okay, this is Akira Toriyama. And the thing about it is, you know, his art style is very distinct and at times a little lazy feeling. Like, I see Android 18's hairstyle everywhere in this game. The NPCs are clearly made from certain aspects, and a lot of them are from, you know, Akira Toriyama's, like, sketchbook, if you will, like from his wheelhouse. They're bits you see in his other media, especially in the faces. Like, they all have those Toriyama eyes, particularly from, like, the original Dragon Ball. There's a few cases of the Dragon Ball Z, like, pointy, angry eyes that I don't prefer. I like the cute eyes from Dragon Ball, but I digress. It's very clearly Toriyama. Again, because of the simplicity and the same basiness of his style, that could be a criticism, but the thing is, he may be the creator of one of the most prolific animes in world history, but his style is not often copied. And because of that, I've never played a game that looks like this before. Like, all the monsters have this cartoony face. They all have these like cute designs. Like, most of the monsters you fight are adorable, which makes me feel bad for killing them sometimes, but you know. But really, if you're playing a Toriyama game, you know it, and you rarely see imitators. So this game has one of the more unique art styles of any game I've played, especially RPGs. Most of them either have a more realistic art style or a more traditional modern anime art style. But no, this one looks like Dragon Ball Z, and that's cool. I love how this game looks. The graphics themselves, on a technical side, are good. I of course did play it on the Switch, and of course because of that the resolution is a little low. The game looks a little blurry in handheld mode, and a smidge blurry, you know, in docked mode too. It wasn't that much of a problem though. The game's art style carries it enough. It's got enough personality to keep going. And speaking of personality, I've realized this. Square Enix are the Nintendo of JRPGs. Now, that feels like an easy statement, but what exactly do I mean by that? They may not always hit the mark exactly with what fans want. I know there were a few Final Fantasies that I've not played that are not favorites with fans, or at least were very mixed. So they don't always have it there. But what they do always have is the polish. This, in terms of presentation, of the cutscenes especially, this is the most polished 85-hour game I've ever played. The amount of effort that went into this game's presentation is astounding. Like, what do I mean by that again? You know how in RPGs, like when you have regular non-pre-rendered cutscenes, you have characters doing these like basic animations, like, oh, they lift their hand to talk, or they put their hands on their hips. Like, this game has that, but at many points, they don't have that. They just have unique animations for these in-game cutscenes. And even when it does happen, all of the little animations look so natural, you don't even think about it. There's so many cutscenes in this game! How do you do that? Can every studio do that and they just don't feel like it? Fucking wow! I'm amazed at how much work, how much blood, sweat, and tears must have went into making this game look as polished and as good in presentation in the cutscenes as they did. Like, I can't stress this enough. Like, play this and then play Pokemon Sword and Shield, which probably has a company with a similar, income of money that Square Enix has in Game Freak. And then look at the difference in presentation. I know there's fucking, there's so many Pokemon, you can't make it, a lot of work goes into the Pokemon themselves. But holy shit. Like, okay, fine. If you don't want to use Pokemon, use Fire Emblem Three Houses. I love that game. It's one of my favorite games of all time. But, compare the in-game cutscenes. It's like every character has like 4 or 5 animations that they do when they speak. And a lot of characters, share animations themselves. Like, a lot of characters will stand the same way or lift their hands in the same way. I guess that's not a problem. It never bothered me a ton throughout Fire Emblem Three Houses. But looking at Dragon Quest XI, so much effort was put into these cutscenes. It's incredible, and it really does go that extra mile. I noticed the extra effort that's put into these. They look great. They look natural. They look like they could be pre-rendered cutscenes if they didn't use the in-engine graphics, because there are some pre-rendered cutscenes that have a lot higher fidelity. Frankly, they look weird. This is not an art style that lends well to individually animated strands of hair, but, whatever. There's not a lot of them anyway. But it's just so cool. It's just, the polish is off the charts. And it doesn't feel like any company but Square Enix and maybe Bandai Namco, I know they make a few RPGs, would go through this much effort for a game this fucking long. Like, there's 85 hours. Like, again, it took me 85 hours to beat the game, and there's a ton of cutscenes, and all of them look like this. It's incredible. And then the music. The first thing I gotta bring up with the music, because it has literally been brought up to me every time I've ever mentioned Dragon Quest music, the composer is a piece of shit. He is not a good dude. You can look up why. It's not hard to find out why, what's his first name? I know this shouldn't be funny to me, but I just googled Dragon Quest composer, and the first autocorrects that come up are Dragon Quest composer controversy, Dragon Quest composer nationalist, Dragon Quest XI composer racist. Okay, that's funny. What was his name? Koichi Sugiyama, that's his name. Not a good dude. Again, I don't want to go into why. You can look that up. But I had to bring it up, otherwise the comments would have done so first. Anyway, the music itself, it's good, but goddamn is it annoying sometimes. There's not a lot of music in this game that you notice anyway. Later in the game, you start to see more musical tracks, but for the most part, your plains theme, your town theme, your battle theme, you're going to be hearing those three songs in particular a lot throughout the game. And the battle theme, it's really cool at first, because it doesn't sound like any other battle theme I've heard before, especially at the beginning. Like, it uses these, James Bond horns to start off with. It sounds cool for the first 10 hours. Then you get sick of it really fast. The thing is, I think the reason for that I got sick of this battle theme, and not a lot of others that I hear a lot, like Pokemon, or Final Fantasy VII, or even Fodlan Winds in Fire Emblem Three Houses, is because they all start with more... They all start with more, dynamic notation to start off with. I don't know if that's the right word. But, they change notes pretty frequently. It's not just a lot of held notes for, a full measure or anything like this game does. Here, pardon me, I'm gonna hum for a minute, so I'm gonna sound stupid, but sorry if this bothers you. Compare Pokemon, it's bum 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 bum, it's hopping around notes. Final Fantasy VII, it's and then Dragon Quest XI, every time you enter a battle, they hit you with you hear it in your nightmares. I just got so fucking tired of it. And the music as a whole is not super remarkable. It's good. It's all nice. It all sounds good. Thankfully, because I'm playing Dragon Quest XI S and not the original, where they used MIDIs and the battle theme was even more annoying. Yeah, that was another thing. In the original release, they used MIDIs for all of the music. But for the re-release on Switch, and then which eventually got re-released on Xbox One and PS4, and PC? Yes, PC. They used orchestrated sounds, which is much better. I'm so glad I played this version. Otherwise, I would have fucking muted Otherwise, I would have muted the game even more than I already did, because I played it a lot, like, while doing other things while I was grinding. So I didn't actually hear the battle theme too much after a while. But even then, like, hearing it when I did, God, I got sick of it. So all of this adds up to a good game, but when it comes to the gameplay itself, there's not a lot to say. I've realized recently how few traditional turn-based JRPGs I've played. I've played Pokemon, I've played this, I'm playing Persona 5 Royal, and I've played Final Fantasy VII. And that's like, even Final Fantasy VII has its own battle system with like the time and all that. And that's like it. So, I don't really know if I could add much to the gameplay. I mean, it's a turn-based RPG. You got your buffs, you got your debuffs, you got your attacks, you got your spells, you got your health, you got your MP. Like, I feel like some longtime fans may complain that this game is very safe. I don't know. I don't know if this game does some crazy shit gameplay-wise that's never been in another turn-based RPG before that I'm just not seeing. But it's pretty standard. It's fun. I loved battling in this game. I never got tired of it. In fact, the last, 10 hours of the game, I mostly just spent grinding. Which is really the only time you need to grind, which, thankfully, is when you're leading up to the final boss. And they do give you some areas that are specifically made for grinding, which is nice. I loved battling. I loved strategizing and using, different characters for different things. Like some characters I would have out, they would never attack. I would just use them for buffs in addition to my healers and then 2 attackers. That's how I prefer to play. Like I would have, of course, I'd always have the hero out because he's probably the strongest unit overall. He's the strongest, the most diverse. Then I would probably have Jade out as well because she hits pretty hard. Jade, another attacker basically, like Jade, Eric, the other guy that I haven't mentioned yet. And then I would have a healer, either Rab or Serena. Mostly Serena. Serena gets really fucking good near the end of the game. And then I would usually have Silvando out. Either Silvando to lay down some buffs like increase attack or increase movement speed or anything like that. And then have him attack every now and again. Maybe he'll put some status effects on the enemies. Or if I don't feel the need for buffs and I'd rather have extra damage, I just swap him out for another attacker. I love strategizing this game. It's a lot of fun, and it makes me want to play other turn-based RPGs. Because I feel like this game doesn't stray far from the other ones. If I'm wrong, please let me know. If this game is super unique and I'm just not seeing it, leave it in the comments. But it's such an old series. I feel like if the gameplay changed too much, people would be upset with it. If you look at Dragon Quest 1, it looks pretty similar. You get random encounters and you fight them in turn-based style. You got your attacks and you got your spells, etc., yada, yada, yada. It's fun, though. It's a lot of fun. I enjoyed the actual combat in the game a lot. Overall, it is pretty simple. The one thing I would have loved is... So, in Pokemon Legends Arceus, I mentioned this in my Pokemon Presents reaction on Clownsville, but how Pokemon Legends Arceus is going to have an on-screen list of the turn order. This game really needs that. I've been told that other games do that. This game needed to do that. At the very least, do what Persona 5 Royal does, and let you see at the very least, who's going to be going next, because I never knew. Even in the same fight, even if I lost a boss fight and wanted to reset it and went in with the same exact setup, whoever attacked first isn't always consistent. And the order of attack, I never understood why it is the way it is. That is something I never grasped. I don't know if I'm just missing some mechanic that would help me understand more. But some bosses can attack numerous times in a row. That's whatever, they're bosses, that you want to make them harder. But sometimes you get to attack several times in a row. The same person will get multiple turns before the enemy gets a turn. And I'm like, why? I don't know. Usually it happens when I use Acceleratal and increase our movement speed so we have so we move faster. But sometimes it happens when I don't do that. I never understood it. Maybe my brain is too small. but I really could have used an on-screen list of who's attacking, or just a prompt that would let me see who's attacking next. I never knew, and it made it difficult to strategize sometimes. That's my only major problem with the gameplay. And it did irritate me pretty often. Because, I was like, oh God, I have this attacker. This other character is low on health. This attacker has a healing spell, but I have no fucking idea if my healer, my proper healer, is going to get to go before the enemy does, and I'm worried this character is going to die, and then I need to waste a turn reviving them. I guess in a way I had to strategize around the fact that I didn't know what was going to happen. But I don't know, like sometimes you notice patterns, and then a few turn cycles later, that pattern breaks. And of course, stat effects and stuff can change things, but even when no like direct change to stats is made, like it feels like changes are made. It's weird, and I don't understand it. I just wish there was a list that would have made the gameplay pretty perfect. That would have made the game even more perfect, in my opinion, because it's pretty close. You know, I say that, but I have a hard time praising the game that hard. I have very astonishingly few complaints about this game. I really enjoyed it from beginning to end. But it's not like this crazy feat of game design or anything. It's just really fun. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just, I suppose, like, the measurement is, I had more fun playing this game than I had playing other games. Then that's not a slight on the other games, it's just a measurement. I had a lot of fun playing Dragon Quest XI's Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition, and I would definitely recommend playing it. It is really good. It's a long boy, like it's a monster, but if you can get through it, then if you feel like you could play a game that long, I definitely recommend it. There's a lot going for it. It is on Switch. There's a pretty chunky demo on Switch, too. It took me about 7 hours to beat the demo, and of course you can carry over your save file. So give the demo a try on Switch. I don't know if the demo is available on other platforms, but I do know that at the time of recording, Dragon Quest XI's is on Xbox Game Pass, and I believe it's also on Xbox Game Pass on PC. So if you want to try it for a low price, you don't even need to buy an Xbox for that. You just need to get Game Pass, download the Xbox program on your computer, and then you can play Dragon Quest XI's for like $10. And if you could somehow beat it in a month, if you have the time to do that, you've played Dragon Quest XI's for $10. It's great. So let's seek it out, give it a shot. You know, I loved it, and I hope you love it too. This is a great game. Very little to complain about, and I just wanted to talk about it. Thank you for listening. As an update to what I'm playing next, I believe I mentioned last time that the next short game I was going to play after No More Heroes 3 was Psychonauts. I've played about an hour of it. I like it a lot. I haven't had a lot of time to play it since, because it's harder to play at work because I need to set up remote play on my phone and stuff, yada yada. The next long game I'm going to be playing, if I can make it through it, is Xenoblade Chronicles X. I played it for a little bit last night, but I was getting sleepy, so I wanted to stop. It's having a harder time hooking me, but I'm definitely going to give it a chance. And if I beat it, I'll make a video on that too. But if I don't, I'll play something else. I'm thinking of playing either after I give up or finish Xenoblade Chronicles X. I'm gonna probably be playing Chrono Trigger. Never played that. Heard it's incredible, so I'll be playing that soon too. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. Buy Dragon Quest XI's Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition. See you around.